Nathan, did I ever tell you how good looking your wife is? She's very much my type of woman. Perhaps you would be willing to lend her to me for one night?
Dad, what is wrong with you? I can't believe that you would even suggest something like that. Don't look at Michelle in that way. It is disgusting.
What's the problem? I just find her really attractive, alright? Maybe I can hire her to be my secretary.
Oh, don't be ridiculous. You already have 2 other executive assistants who work for you.
I'm quite aware of that, but those 2 are just secretaries to handle all of my business matters. I was talking about hiring your wife as my personal secretary for after business hours, if you get what I'm saying.
What? I seriously don't understand where you're getting these outrageous ideas from. Do you actually know what you're asking for?
I'm not just asking. I've always gotten what I've wanted, no matter how far-fetched my desires were. Whether it was through hard work or strong demands, I've never let anything or anyone get away from me unintentionally. This is how I've grown my company to what it is today. I take what I want, and everything I want eventually becomes mine.
But so what? It has nothing to do with my wife.
Oh, don't be so tight-fisted. I just want you to lend me your wife for one night. It's not like I'm gonna keep her forever.
Do you honestly know what you're suggesting? What about Mom? How can you think about another woman when you're already married?
You're kidding me, right? Why in the world would I want to spend decades with just one woman? She's gotten all wrinkled and flabby over the years. I hardly even see her as a woman lately. I have desires that need to be fulfilled, and she no longer satisfies those needs for me. Of course, I'm gonna need a lover or 2 on the side.
But I always thought that you and Mom had a good marriage. You always seem to get along with one another really well.
Why do you even think I started this company and worked so hard to earn all this money? It's so I can be a sugar daddy to a young and beautiful woman of my choice.
I never imagined that was the reason. I've always looked up to you as a respectable, hardworking man who was passionate about his work and family.
Well, if you have any intention of taking over this company after me, you should start learning how to have a lover or 2 on the side.
That's not really something I'm interested in. I vowed to love Michelle for the rest of our lives when we got married. I don't plan on being unfaithful to her. But that is besides the point. How could you do something like that to Mom? And just imagine how devastated she would be if she found out.
Don't worry, that woman already knows about everything.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and besides, she's just after my money anyways. At least she knows better than to say anything about it. Otherwise, she's no better than a helpless, stupid old hag.
How can I even reply to such a horrible comment? It really breaks my heart when you talk so poorly about Mom. I wish you would stop.
When are you gonna stop being such a mama's boy? Aren't you embarrassed for yourself?
When I was little, you were hardly home since you were always so busy at work. But Mom was always there to play with me and keep me company all the time. What is wrong with showing my appreciation to her? She basically raised me on her own since you were never around.
Oh, don't be ridiculous. She doesn't need to be praised for doing what was already expected of her.
Fine, but going back to the original discussion, I'll let it go as just a joke that you really were trying to hit on my wife. More importantly, there's a major contract that's about to close. Shouldn't you be more focused on that? Instead of sleeping around with other women and betraying Mom like that?
Oh, I'll leave the rest of the contract in your hands. You can take the credit for closing that deal.
No, you can't just pass it along to me like that. I already promised the client that our CEO will be joining for the final discussions before they sign off on it.
I am not going. There's nothing left to discuss, and I don't have the time to watch anyone sign some stupid papers. There's a woman that I'm trying to seduce now, so I'm pretty busy.
This isn't time to be joking around. If we close this deal, it'll be worth more than $5 million.
You're right. That is a really big deal, so there's no way we can lose it. But you go and get that contract signed then. It'll be a test to see if you're fit to succeed this company after I retire.
I'm still a junior assistant. What will they think if I go over there by myself? I'll be the laughingstock of that meeting since they're bringing their top executives.
Not getting that contract will be unacceptable. You hear me?
You have got to be kidding me. There's only 2 weeks left until the meeting. I won't even have time to sleep if I need to prepare the presentation for it.
Sleep is overrated. You're still young, so a few missed nights of sleep won't kill you. This is the chance to give it everything you've got, so you should keep working until you fall over from exhaustion.
I don't know if I can do this.
Keep in mind that I want to retire as soon as I can, while I'm still young enough to entertain a few more beautiful women. So don't take too long to get on your own 2 feet. I am counting on you to take over this company sooner rather than later. But you better not ruin what I've built up until now.
Some CEO you are. You only care about yourself. I'm on my way to the client's office now for our final meeting. I'll let you know the result after we finish.
Sounds good.
By the way, Dad, where are you now? I stopped by your office earlier, but it didn't seem like you were in.
I'm in Hawaii right now, staying in the honeymoon suite with your wife. I'm just enjoying a little taste of her, but don't worry, I'll give her back, so just stay put for a few more days, okay?
Hawaii? But Michelle should be visiting her parents in Michigan right now.
Well, that's obviously a lie, isn't it? Because she's here with me right now.
You're lying.
I told you the other day that there was a particular woman that I was trying to seduce, right?
But I didn't actually think that you were serious about Michelle.
Well, you thought wrong then. I always get what I want, and I'll use whatever means I need to get my intended prey.
You're insane. I've never heard about anyone who even thought about seducing their own son's wife.
Where's the fun in doing only what ordinary people do? I was just trying to provide a little excitement for the both of us.
But you forced her to accompany you, right? I'm sure Michelle was unable to refuse the demands from such a selfish and arrogant father-in-law. She had no choice but to follow along, right?
Nope. As a matter of fact, she came along quite willingly and seemed pretty excited about this trip, if I might say so myself.
What? That can't be right. Michelle was always at home, and we never had any problems with our marriage. She seemed pretty happy with our current lifestyle.
Well, I took her out shopping in the middle of the weekday and brought her a high-end designer bag. But that's about all it took to have her wagging her little tail for me. Oh, she's an easy bait. And now it seems like I have her at my beck and call.
That doesn't seem anything like her. I still can't believe that you're telling the truth.
I guess she had you fooled then. Too bad you failed at choosing the right kind of wife.
But this is just a spontaneous vacation and nothing more than that, right? You haven't actually done anything with her.
Oh, you must be an idiot if you think that two grown adults of the opposite sex won't do anything with one another during an overseas rendezvous. I told you that we're staying in the honeymoon suite of an exclusive resort in Hawaii, right? Did you really think that we're just here to enjoy the view from our private balcony?
It's impossible. How could Michelle even betray me like that?
I always thought that your wife had a really nice figure, but now that I can see it up close and personal, I find her even more desirable. It almost isn't fair that she has to be your wife. She's much too well endowed, if you know what I mean. The firmness of her young body, there's no way that I can go back to your old, wrinkly mother now. Forget that unattractive wife of mine. Michelle can be my new wife from now on. You'll let me have her, right?
What are you talking about? Do you even know what you're asking for?
I've said this before, but this isn't a request. It is the CEO's orders. You may be my son, but you're still one of my employees. And as your boss, I am demanding that you follow my orders.
Don't be ridiculous.
You better watch your mouth, young man. That is no way to speak to your CEO. Think about your position.
I only intended to inform you that I was on my way to close out our business deal. Why did you have to drop this bomb at this timing?
As the future president of this company, you need to learn how to keep your business and personal matters separate. This isn't the time to be feeling sorry for yourself. Put your emotions in your back pocket and be like a barracuda in front of those executives. Your job is to go get that contract. Do you understand?
How do you expect me to even focus on this business meeting, knowing that you're possibly violating my wife? So far away. I can't go through with this.
If you can't do it for yourself, then do it for the sake of our other employees. Their well-being lies at the hands of this deal. Don't tell me that your wife's little affair is gonna make you abandon your responsibility to this company.
That's not what I'm saying, but still.
Don't act like such a stupid, spoiled child. Go and do the job that you're being paid to do. On the other hand, I'm on my way to enjoy some poolside entertainment along with your wife. Did I ever mention that your wife is pretty good at what she does? She kept me more than satisfied all last night.
That's enough already. I don't want to hear any more of this.
I find this situation even more exciting knowing that she's your wife. And that she chose to be here with me.
You scumbag. You're absolutely disgusting and I will never forgive you for this.
Call me whatever you want. They're just words anyway. And even if you wanted to throw a punch at me, you can't because we're across the ocean in Hawaii.
It's not even worth punching your face in. You're just a worthless piece of scum.
It's what I've been saying all along. There's nothing that I can't obtain if it's something that I really desire. Whether that's money, woman, honor, position, I mean everything. It's all mine if I want it.
Then you didn't have to set your eyes on my wife in particular. Why did you have to steal her from me?
I just borrowed her with full intentions of giving her back. Don't try to put words in my mouth, son.
Don't you dare talk about her as if she's some kind of object.
Look at you getting so worked up. I never get tired of teasing you like this. You haven't changed a bit since you're a boy. You always took things so seriously back then as well.
You were teasing me? So all of this was just a joke?
Nope, it's all true.
I hate you.
Good luck with your meeting. You better go and give it your all if you plan on closing that deal. I hate to tell you this, but I couldn't stop myself with just a taste of your wife. As a matter of fact, I enjoyed every last bit of her delicious body, and I'm completely satisfied now.
Is that so?
My phone completely crashed after our last conversation, and I just got back from getting it repaired. So, how did that deal go?
We were able to successfully close on that deal.
Ah, that's great news. You did good, son. I am so proud of you. I'm planning on checking out of here tomorrow, so I'll be back in the office by the following morning. I'm looking forward to hearing all about that meeting when I get back.
In that case, I'll be waiting for you at our son's grave.
What the heck? Who is this?
This is your wife, Terry.
What? Why are you replying from Nathan's phone?
Because he's gone now. He passed away.
What are you talking about?
That day of the big business deal. He was involved in an accident on his way home.
You're just joking, right?
Don't you dare accuse me of making such an inappropriate joke.
I see. So it was really bad luck that my phone was broken because I'm sure you must have been frantically trying to get in touch with me. I'm sorry about that.
There's no need for any apology. I didn't even try and contact you since I received the terrible news.
Why not? Our son passed away, right? I should have been the first one to be notified.
You have some nerve calling yourself a father after what you've done to him. How could you let yourself have an affair with his wife? It's truly unforgivable as a parent.
You knew about it?
I found out from Nathan himself. I was completely shocked and couldn't believe what I was actually hearing at first.
Then you should have contacted Michelle right away. Her phone was working perfectly fine. It's all your fault that I wasn't able to attend my own son's funeral. Why didn't you let me know?
You and that lousy daughter-in-law of Al's hardly deserve to be at Nathan's funeral after the way you two betrayed him.
But you know all about my previous affairs with different women. Why is this any different?
Oh, I know. And I've let it go in the past, convincing myself that it was a disorder that you couldn't control. But this time is not the same as all your other affairs. You made a move on your son's wife. What were you even thinking?
Oh, it wasn't anything serious. I just wanted to get a kick out of Nathan's reaction to it.
This is not a joke, so don't act like it wasn't a big deal. You have no idea just how much your actions hurt him and drove him to despair. It's your fault that he was involved in that accident in the first place.
How could it possibly be my fault? I wasn't even there when it happened.
You don't know this, but Nathan ignored a red light and drove straight toward the intersection into oncoming traffic.
What?
Luckily, the driver of the truck that hit Nathan's car was uninjured, but there's just no way that Nathan would ignore a red light on purpose. He was such a careful driver. Unfortunately, he was completely devastated after hearing about you and Michelle's relationship earlier that day, so he was too distracted and wasn't focused on his driving.
Nathan? My son!
Are you satisfied now?
Absolutely not. This wasn't the outcome that I had intended. You have to believe me.
But now you can have Michelle all to yourself since Nathan is no longer alive. Isn't that what you wanted from the beginning? To steal her away from your own son?
I have no interest in keeping a woman that would betray my own son so easily.
I wouldn't be so sure. Weren't you the one who seduced her? Nathan told me everything about what you were doing.
Like I said, it wasn't serious. I just wanted a small taste, and then I was satisfied. I had no intention of keeping any kind of relationship with her.
Then you never should have laid your hands on her in the first place.
Oh, shut your mouth. You're in no position to tell me what I can and can't do. Who do you think earns all the money so that you can keep your luxury lifestyle? Don't be so bossy, like you actually have any right to talk to me like that.
It won't be much longer until those exact words are thrown right back at you.
What do you mean by that?
I spent so many sleepless nights just thinking about how I could possibly avenge Nathan's grudge towards you.
Don't make me laugh. What kind of revenge could you possibly come up with?
A hostile takeover of your company. I'm going to initiate a bid to acquire everything that you've built up over the years.
What?
I'm going to buy out more than half the company's stock and kick you off the board of managing executives.
Don't be ridiculous. Where exactly are you planning to get that kind of money?
I've already asked my uncle, so that won't be a problem. He's willing to back me up entirely.
Your uncle? You mean the one who works for Imperial Trading?
Yes, that's the one. He's currently the managing director for the company.
But why in the world would such a big corporation have any interest in buying out a company like mine?
Well, it turns out that they were looking to enter into a new field of business, so this was a great opportunity for them. When I told my uncle about my plan and my reasoning behind it, he was completely on board with it.
You gotta be kidding me. This is a company that I built up from scratch.
And so what? A corporation is a corporation, and its worth is dependent on the company's shareholders. Don't tell me you didn't know this when you went public with your company listing.
I just never imagined a hostile takeover of my company in this lifetime.
Oh, and by the way, the current board members already agreed to sell their stock holdings.
Why would they do such a stupid thing?
They've had more than enough of your arrogant, dictator-like management, and were sick and tired of your lousy treatment of women. So they were, in fact, more than happy for this opportunity to finally be able to get out.
But that's just absurd.
Oh, really? Was it really that unexpected? From what I've heard, you constantly brought young women into your office to do who knows what behind closed doors. And because of those women, you would arrive late to board meetings, which was starting to take a toll on your work performance.
Well, I can explain.
There's no need for an explanation. I'm not even interested. But just so you know, none of your employees even admired you as their CEO. And in fact, they couldn't wait for Nathan to succeed as the new CEO and were desperately hoping that you would retire soon.
My company, I can't believe that this is the end of it.
Don't worry, it's not the end of the company. Business will go on as usual for all it's worth. It'll just be under a brand new management.
So, what am I supposed to do?
Who knows and who cares? Perhaps you can spend the rest of your life all by your lonely self.
What do you mean? Aren't you gonna come along with me?
You're kidding, right? After what you did to our son. There's absolutely no way I want to spend even a single day in your presence from this day forward.
But you know as well as I do that I can't even cook and clean for myself. How do you expect me to survive on my own?
That's a good question, especially since you won't have any money left to your name to solve all your problems. It's too bad I don't have any sympathy left for you, though.
Then at least let me see Nathan one last time. I haven't even had the chance to lay any flowers on his grave yet.
Absolutely not.
Michelle is absolutely devastated as well. She can hardly get out of bed just from the shock of this news.
Is that so? But you can let that traitor know that she better not show her face here ever again.
But Michelle is Nathan's wife. She would be the successor to his inheritance.
I've already hired a lawyer who's going to help me file for damages against you and Michelle for your affair. You know very well that Nathan wasn't making much as a junior assistant. Michelle may have the right to Nathan's inheritance, but there probably won't be anything left after she pays the settlement.
And what about my money?
According to my lawyer, the division of property in a divorce doesn't necessarily have to be down the middle. The reason we're even talking about divorce is 100% because of your infidelity. I'm talking to a lawyer about alimony and such. You're probably going to end up with 1/4 of everything.
But it's my hard-earned money, so you're the one who's only getting 1/4 of it.
I don't even know what money you're talking about because there's hardly anything left. You've spent it all on entertaining your young lovers on the side. What makes you so entitled anyways?
I know that there wasn't much money left, but we're still getting by, right? And I always assumed that it wouldn't be a problem as long as I was able to earn it all back. It just never crossed my mind that I would be forced to give up my position as a CEO.
By the way, you better not try anything funny so you can avoid being bought out. Like I said before, all of the board members are on our side now, so there's nothing you can do to change their minds. My uncle has already gone around to organizations in the same industry, so there's not even your competitors who would be willing to lend a hand. There's nothing left that you can do now that you're all alone.
Oh, this can't be happening.
I'll never be able to forgive the two of you for taking my precious son away from me. He was much too young to die, and he definitely didn't deserve what you made him go through. I guarantee that you and Michelle will both rot in hell, and I'll do everything that I can to make sure that it happens.
But you have to help me.
Don't be silly. Just think about your son, who was betrayed by his own father and wife at the same time. Compared to the shock and despair that he must have felt, your cries for help are worth less than nothing.
I understand now that I made a huge mistake. I just thought that Nathan would forgive me since I was his father. I only intended for this to be a little joke. I never thought that he would take it so seriously.
I really wish that you were the one that was gone and not him. Why did it have to be my poor Nathan? He was such a kind and hard-working young man. Why him?
I'm sorry. I don't know what else I can say.
I hope you bear the weight of Nathan's pain for the rest of your life. You deserve to struggle every single day, and yet it wouldn't even be near enough to make up for Nathan's loss. There's not a single person who will feel sorry for you or who will ever forgive what you've done.
Nathan, I am so sorry for everything. Please, forgive me.
Nathan isn't here anymore. Your apologies will never reach his ears now.
What have I done?
It's too late to regret your actions now. Perhaps you should have thought about the consequences before doing something so stupid. You can take that large suitcase with you and disappear from the face of the earth as soon as you check out of that hotel.
Please, just give me another chance.
I've already been in touch with Michelle's parents as well. I'm sure that you can imagine how furious they were about the situation. Don't even think for 1 second that she'll be welcome back at her parents' home ever again.
That was a bit uncalled for, don't you think?
I'm done talking to you now and forever. I don't ever want to see or hear from the two of you ever again. One last thing. I've already canceled all the credit cards, so you won't be able to use them.
You can't do that. I don't have any cash on me. How am I supposed to pay for anything?
Who knows? But it doesn't cost any money to sleep in the grass along the riverbed.
Wait, then at least you can let me come back in the house one last time.
If you ever step foot on this property ever again, I'll call the cops on you immediately.
How can you be so cruel? We're still family, right?
Legally, we're still married, yes, but a marriage certificate is nothing more than a sealed piece of paper. But effectively, I consider myself as no longer being married. If there's anything else that you have to say, then you'll have to contact my lawyer directly.
Terry, wait, please. You can't betray me like this.
Upon returning from Hawaii, Robert and Michelle came to the house immediately after getting off the plane. But I completely ignored their desperate calls, pretending that I wasn't even at home. And I'd already gotten the locks changed on the house that Nathan and Michelle used to live in, so they had no way of getting inside there either. As for Michelle, her parents had already disowned her and didn't even hesitate to cut all ties with her, so she had no one else she could rely on. With nowhere else to go, the two of them dragged their suitcases from their Hawaii trip back and forth between the few 24-hour diners and fitness gyms in town. Shortly after, my lawyer notified me that the divorce had been finalized. As part of the settlement, it was agreed that Robert would receive $100,000 in cash. From there, the costs of Nathan's funeral was deducted. The total deduction amount, $100,000. So I ended up kicking him out of the house with not even a single penny left to his name, and it served him right. I made him sell whatever shares of the company's stock that he still held, so his ties to the company were completely cut off. I heard that him and Michelle rented an apartment and were living together, but it wasn't long before Michelle moved out. After she found a new man that was able to support her financially. Left all alone in the tiny one-bedroom apartment with no money, no woman, no family, Robert finally realized how worthless he had become. He lost everything that he should have been proud of, but unfortunately there was no way to get any of it back now. As for Robert's former company, it seems to be off on a good start under the new management. We can only hope for its continued success, but I'm not too worried about it now that it's in better hands. We were finally able to lay Nathan's ashes to rest the other day. Nathan, my sweet boy, your father wasn't always that selfish and arrogant. Perhaps if I'd kept a tighter leash on him, he never would have been running after all these women. I'm sorry that I wasn't able to foresee all of this. I'll never be able to forgive myself for not being able to prevent this outcome. You were taken from this world much too soon. But when I close my eyes, I can hear you reassuring me that it's not my fault. Your kindness is the only saving grace that keeps me going every day. But don't worry, it won't be too long before I join you up in heaven. When we meet again, I want to make sure that it will be with a big, satisfactory smile on my face. So to keep my promise, I'll live the rest of my life to its fullest, enjoying everything that I can so that I can share those experiences with you when we're together again. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to click the like button and subscribe to see more content.